Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're here for part 24 of our F1 2021 MyTeam career mode here for the Spanish Grand Prix. Last time out we were in Portimao, and spoilers for if you haven't seen that episode yet, we had some of the worst luck I have ever had on this game. Looking good for a race win, and then with 2 laps to go we had our engine failure. But all we can do now is look forward towards the future and prepare for the Spanish Grand Prix. So having a look at the R&D chart here, you can see we are actually ahead of Red Bull still. They've closed in a little bit. We're basically equal, and you can see up ahead McLaren and Mercedes are the exact same, very, very close to each other. And we have Ferrari and Aston just behind, but not wasting any time here, moving straight on to qualifying. You can see it's nice and sunny here. However, that will not be the case for the race. In the race, it is supposed to be quite wet, so yeah, we're going to be going into the race with no wet knowledge, as it is going to be dry for the entirety of qualifying. But you can see here in Q1 going out for our first lap, trying to hook the car up with the curbs and heading through turn 3 there. And we're going to cut towards the end of the lap here. You can see we're about half a second up on Sonoda in 18th, going a little bit too tight there through the hairpin and hitting the bollard, and then losing the car a little bit there through the left-hand kink. So certainly not a perfect lap here as we head through the very tight and twisty final part of the last sector. You can see there once again getting a big snap of oversteering as we head through the final corner. A little bit nicer there as we head through the final corner, completely flat out in these cars. I mean, crossed the line, and it's only enough for P12 there, just ahead of both the Astons there. But as we move on further through the session, actually we do stay in P12. You can see Sainz doing great up in P4 as well. So as it stands, we are safe, but of course everyone is going for another lap, so we're going to have to go for a second flyer just to be safe and make sure we do actually get through to Q2. So hopefully this lap goes a little bit better. Just got to try and minimize the mistakes that we made last time out. You can see already going green as we head through turn 3 there. All very much completely flat out in these cars, as long as you get the line right. If you get the line wrong, you do have to back out, and it can cause you a lot of time loss. You can see actually setting a purple first sector there as we head through the final corner. Now we're about 8/10 up on where we were, and as we cross the line, it's going to put us up to P7, only 0.008, 8 thousandths of a second off of Bottas in P5, and then we've got Vettel between us as well. So good Q1 there for us. You can see Lando on provisional pole, Sainz is up in P3, and we're down in P7. But yeah, well and truly through to Q2 here in Spain. So moving on, you can see we're going to be on the medium tyres for this first lap, because I was just hoping to see if maybe we could get through to Q3 on the mediums, so that way if we do need to in Q3, we can use an extra set of softs to try and maximize that session. You can see as we head through the first sector, the car's actually doing quite well on it. The mediums are pretty good around this track as we head through the final corner. It's still completely flat out. You don't waste too much time with that, but you can see as we cross the line, actually we're up in P4, so not bad there. You can see ahead of Hamilton and the Mercedes, actually, who's also on the mediums. A lot of cars going on the mediums. Sainz actually struggling there a bit more. He's down in P14 while we're in P6 after everyone does their first laps. But just to be safe, pretty much everyone has gone for another flying lap. So yeah, I'm going to leave you with the rest of this lap and enjoy. So as we cross the final corner here and come across the line, we're going to improve by 6/10, and it is enough to keep us in to Q3 here, as it actually puts us in P8 there. Lando Norris and the McLaren, the only driver able to get through on the mediums. Everyone else had to do an extra lap on the softs just to be safe, as Hamilton does go provisional pole there, and Sainz did end up getting through into Q3 as well. So yeah, we're going to do 2 laps here. This first lap is on some worn softs, which is why I wanted to try and get through on the mediums, so we could try and do 2 fresh soft laps. But oh well, we're just going to have to do sort of a bank lap here on the worn softs. They're not too worn, they've only done one lap. So, yeah, hopefully shouldn't cost us too much time as we head through the final corner. Everyone has done their laps except for us now, so as we cross the line, where does it put us? Only P9 there, about 2/10 off of our teammate in P6 there. We're able to get ahead of Sebastian Vettel, and we actually did have the fastest first sector, so I guess that sort of shows you there that the tyres were good for the first sector, and then after that, that's where the tyre wear sort of starts to hurt you. But here we go now for our final lap in Q3 on some fresh tyres. You can see hooking up very nicely through turn 1 and 2, and we're going to go completely flat out through turn 3 here, just about keeping it on track there. If you go too wide, the lap can get invalidated as we head into turn 4. Now we once again set a purple first sector, and we're about 1/10.5 up on where we were last time out as we head into turn 5, down into 3rd gear, but quick shifting up into 4th as we get onto the power to make sure that we don't get too much oversteer as we now head down to turn 6 and 7. I'm trying to get that hooked up. It's very easy to lose the car through there with the undulation of the track as we head through the very fast flying sweeper, just downshifting a gear to help get the car rotated in, and then immediately back up into 8th gear now as we head into the hairpin, into the final sector. We're about 4/10 up, very nicely on the inside curb there, trying to use as much track on the exit to get the power down as we head through the right-hander 4th gear here to keep the car stable. As we now head into the very tight and twisty section of this final sector, into the final chicane. It's very important to get a good run out of the right-hander here, which we do. No oversteer as we head flat through the final corner. We're going to improve by about 6.5 as we cross the line, and it is P3 there, a purple final sector. Are we going to be able to stay there? We're down to P4 now, P5, and it looks like we're going to drop down to P6 there by the end of it. So P6, not too bad. That's our best qualifying result so far of this season. You can see, unfortunately, signs down in P10 there, but it's going to be interesting to see where we can go from this. Lando Norris on pole, ahead of Max Verstappen actually in the Red Bull, so doing very well there for where the Red Bull is in the R&D chart. Of course, remember, Red Bull and ourselves are pretty much tied, so yeah, that sort of shows you how good Max is in this game to be up there in P2, but that's it. Time to move onto the Spanish Grand Prix.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. It's 730 metres from pole position down to a slippery turn 1 here, the first of 16 corners around this 2.89 mile racetrack. The long, wide turn 3 and the uphill right-hander of turn 9 can both be taken full throttle in the right conditions, but I doubt very much we'll be seeing any of that today. With the Grand Prix nearly upon us, Anthony Davidson is by my side once again to offer his perspective. A new name for an old team. Let's take a look at AlphaTauri. There have been some tweaks to the power unit regulations, of course, and I have to say it doesn't seem, so far at least, that they've been able to keep up.
It doesn't look promising for them so far. And if the new regs have hit them as hard as we think, well, I suspect they may need a few late nights at the factory to get back on track.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas, Benjamin, Vettel, Leclerc, Perez, and Pierre Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Kimi Raikkonen, and Giovinazzi, Russell, Mick Schumacher, Nobuharu Matsushita, and Carlos Sainz. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Latifi, Mazepin, Ocon, they've taken a grid penalty, and Yuki Tsunoda. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Right, so here we are on the grid for the Spanish Grand Prix. Unfortunately, you saw there in the grid rundown that Sainz will be starting in P18 after having to take an engine penalty. I don't know if the team maybe saw an issue there with the engine and maybe thought they had to change a component to make sure no issues occurred. But you can see there we are starting on the intermediate tyres. So, yeah, going to be interesting to see how this sort of goes, because I have a dry setup on, and I imagine with the pace of everyone around us that everyone else has a dry setup on. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how we go on a wet track here. And of course, we've done no wet running prior to this race, so yeah, it could get a bit dicey. Could be very interesting. You can see a little bit of a rundown around what's going on around us. We've got Vettel and Leclerc just behind us, the two Ferraris. We've got Bottas and Ricciardo, the two cars ahead of us. So yeah, just sort of a little rundown on who's around us and who we're racing immediately off the grid as we all line up in our grid spots after the formation lap, making sure to get our tyres nice and warm to get as good a launch as possible off the line. But here we go, as we all rev up our engines. Can we have some redemption here in Spain after our poor luck last time in Portimao? We are underway, and it's a lot of wheel spin for us off the starting line. You can see Sebastian Vettel up on our left-hand side, and we're going to dive to the inside here to make sure that no one else can make a move on us as we head into turn 1, getting right in behind the Ferrari. We've got Sergio Perez up alongside us. He's on the inside for turn 2. We're going to have the inside for turn 3. You can barely see anything from the camera here with all of the spray as we head through turn 3, making sure not to make contact with the Red Bull, and we're going to go side by side on turn 4, so Perez is still there, and it looks like we're just about going to eke ahead here through turn 4, just sort of cutting off there to make sure we hold on to P7 at least. So we've lost a spot off of the start of the race here, which is a massive shame, but oh well, we're going to have to get our heads down and get the move on Sebastian Vettel, the man who's returned to Ferrari for this season. That is a very, very cool story to see. So as we head up towards the sweeping section, of course, it's not only raining, but we've also got to deal with all the dirty air from the cars around, as you can see, dropping a bit back behind Vettel. And yeah, we're struggling a little bit here on this dry setup. You can see all over the back of the Ferrari, trying to see if I can maybe make a way around him as we head through the kink. It's not as fast in the wet, obviously, but we're going to cut towards lap 5 now, as we are still all just sort of in a big train as we all try and sort of work out where the grip is on this track. You can see still on the off-board cameras, you can barely see anything with all the spray and the droplets over the camera as we head through turn 3. We've actually got a better run than Vettel here, so as we head towards turn 4, we're going to dive to the inside here of the Ferrari. We're going to go side by side with the German still as we head through turn 4, and on exit we just about eke ahead of the Ferrari there and back up into our starting position of P6. So yeah, we're going to have to now get our heads down. You can see we actually set a purple sector on that on this lap, and we're going to try and chase off the Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas. It'll be interesting to see what sort of pace we have around this circuit in the wet now that we've sort of been released into some clean air to chase after the cars ahead as we head down the back straight towards the hairpin of Sector 3. But we're going to cut on towards lap 9 now. You can see we have actually closed in, and we've got the fastest lap of the race as we head through turn 3, trying to set up a similar sort of thing that we did last time to Vettel. But you can see just getting the line wrong, and in the dirty air we run off track and having to back off the throttle to make sure we can get back onto the circuit. Otherwise we just end off in the gravel trap somewhere, and that is absolutely not what we want after last time out in Portimao. We want to try and maximise this race and keep ourselves in the championship fight, which is absolutely crazy to be saying as only our second year as a team on the Formula 1 grid here, but it's where we are. We've seen signs up the front of the field, and now it is our turn to get up the front of the field. We've struggled a little bit so far this season to get up there, but last time in Portimao and now this time in Spain, it looks like we can do it as Bottas makes a little bit of a mistake there through turn 2.
They have some kind of mechanical problem.
And Jeff there telling us that Ricciardo has an issue, so he's just up ahead in P4, and this could be what we need to help get the move on Bottas, is also making a move on Ricciardo. So we can make 2 spots here if we play this right, as we get a little bit of overspeed, trying to go for a bit of a dive on Bottas. Has a little bit of a ditch effort there after making our mistake, but that wasn't meant to be there. As we can see, we have again set a purple first sector, so first sector seems to be doing pretty well for us as we head through the little S section there and up towards the sweeper. You can see we are getting held up now as the 3 of us are sort of bunched up a little bit, and we're losing time to the cars ahead. You can see Bottas looking to make a move on Ricciardo into sector 3, and he's not quite able to make it happen. We're going to try and benefit from this as we get a bit of a crisscross, and Bottas having to dive out of the way to make sure we don't make contact, and we do move ourselves up into P5 there. And now we try and set our eyes on Daniel Ricciardo and the McLaren up ahead. So yeah, we're up into P5. P4 up next, and then after that we've got to try and see if we can chase down Verstappen. But before we do that, we have to make sure we don't lose too much time chasing after our fellow Aussie. And you can see as we head down the straight, this is where we're going to see what the issue is. You can see it definitely doesn't look like he has some sort of engine issue, so he must have damaged his front wing or maybe the underbody of the car on a curb or something. And as we head through turn 1, you can see definitely through the corners is where Ricciardo's struggling as we head through turn 2. And turn 3 is going to be the big telltale sign, as look how much we gain on our fellow Aussie through turn 3. He's just got absolutely no downforce here. I'm surprised he didn't pit with how slow he's going through there as we head through turn 4. Going to make a similar move that we made on Vettel, but we get it done a lot easier here considering he has a wounded car. So that is us up into P4, and we now have a 2.8 second gap to the cars ahead, and we should hopefully be able to pull away from Ricciardo now and hopefully get away before Bottas is able to make a move. As we head on to lap 11 now, you can see some cars actually starting to pit, so we're actually going to be second now, as Lando Norris is the only car in front of us to not have made a pit stop yet, as Bottas actually keeps going with us. He's in P3. Obviously Hamilton pits, so Mercedes don't want to double stack there, as that's the same reason Lando Norris kept going, which actually I find it interesting that the team pit Ricciardo before Norris, because Norris is the one up challenging for the win. Ricciardo was already sort of out of the race with damage. You can see his signs going past. He's actually going to come out with Max Verstappen there as they head into turn 1. Sainz is going to dive it round the outside of Verstappen. This could actually really help us. This could be what we need to get ahead of Verstappen in this pit stop phase. And Sainz has made the move stick, so Sainz, this sort of engine penalty that he's had and he's having to work his way through the field, sort of a blessing in disguise here for us, because this is going to help us make the move on the Red Bull. So Sainz already sort of accepting that this race is going to be his turn to sort of play the team game and hold up some cars for us. So yeah, very, very awesome there from Sainz. You can see he's not actually too slow compared to Verstappen. Verstappen's not all over the back of him, so Sainz does have the pace, obviously, with the new engine, and doesn't look like he has any damage, so he definitely shouldn't be slow, but it definitely will make all the difference with Verstappen on those fresh inters. Sainz is going to hold him up as we come to the end of lap 12. You can see Norris into the pit. We're actually going to continue another lap here. We're going to try and stretch this stint out and try and have the better inter tyres after our pit stop to maybe make some moves. As you can see, we actually set the fastest lap of the race anyway, so it doesn't look like these tyres are actually too old as it is. As we take the provisional lead of the race, everyone else behind us pits. Look at the map there on the left-hand side of the screen. We have a massive gap to the next car behind us now. As we come to the end of lap 13, we're going to come into the pit lane, as it is now our time to pit. Sainz has made his pit stop and released Verstappen now, so it's going to be interesting to see where we come out. You can see Hamilton's about 17 seconds behind, which obviously the pit stop's going to lose more time than that for us, so we're definitely going to lose to Hamilton and Verstappen, and Norris is only just behind, but Verstappen's got about 3 seconds to Norris, so apparently we should be coming out somewhere between Norris and Verstappen. Hopefully we can get ahead of the Red Bull as we head on the pit lane exit. You can see there is Hamilton and Norris, whereas Verstappen, we actually can't see him. He's just to the right of shot there as we head into turn 1. We are ahead of the Red Bull, so Sainz there has helped us make the overcut on Max Verstappen, and we are now in a legitimate P3 in this race. We didn't even have to make the overtake on the Dutchman in the Red Bull there, as we are now going to try and chase down Lando Norris. We've got about a second and a half, maybe a little bit less. You can see actually it's 2 seconds there, so sorry about that, I read that wrong, but we've got just under a second to Verstappen behind us, and we've got about 2 seconds to Norris and Hamilton ahead. So yeah, hopefully now we can see what sort of pace we have on these new inters. I think definitely on older inters we were faster, but yeah, it can be a whole different game when you come onto some new tyres. As we head down the back straight, we're going to cut to lap 15 now. You can see we've set 2 green sectors here. As we cross the line, we're going to set another fastest lap, so definitely still have the pace here as we've closed in on Norris ahead, and we've actually pulled the gap to Verstappen behind. So it definitely looks like we have the fastest car here by quite a while, as we cut to lap 20 now, so quite a way into this race. As we come around the final corner, we're right in behind the McLaren. Are we going to be close enough to maybe have a look into turn 1? You can see we're draining the ERS. We've got the slipstream. Are we going to be able to go for a move? We're going to have a look to the inside. We're going to dive it, and Norris actually does leave the room there. He didn't have to leave the room, but he did, as we try and go for the crisscross through turn 2 to set up turn 3 here, and maybe try and make a similar move that he made to the other McLaren, Ricciardo, earlier on in the race. And Norris actually does have the sense to block into turn 4 there, so we're going to have to sit behind as I try and set up the corner maybe for turn 5 dive, but no, it hasn't quite worked. So we're going to have to sit behind the Brit for a little bit longer as we head out of turn 5 in towards turn 1 now on lap 24. So it's taken us a few laps to sort of charge up the battery again and get back into the swing of things for a move. We're going to set up turn 3 for the move as we head through, actually getting a really good run through there as Norris ran it a little bit wide. We're going to try and dive to the inside of turn 4. We set a purple first sector again, and we're going to go side by side, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, big oversteer moment there with Norris for us as we head into turn 5. We're still going to be side by side around the outside of the McLaren, and once again a big bit of wheel spin on the exit of turn 5, and we're still side by side. This is a great battle here with young Lando Norris as we head through the S section, and we are just going to pull ahead here before heading into the sweeping right-hander. So that is now P2 for us as we edge ourselves ever closer to that race win. As you can see here, this is actually a good camera angle to see the gap that we have over Lando Norris through the hairpin there, and we do get some good traction actually. So yeah, this is actually going very well. This car feels very hooked up in these wet conditions, but we're going to have to see if we now have the pace to close in almost 3 seconds to Lewis Hamilton ahead in the Mercedes through the final chicane here, nice and easy. And you can see on the power, no wheel spin or anything, and you can see we actually Hamilton pits, and we get the strategy call to get on the medium tyres here, but we've already passed the pit lane as we get the strategy call. You can see everyone behind us except for Bottas has pit, and you can see Hamilton's on the mediums, Norris is going to put on the mediums, Verstappen's going to put on the mediums, everyone's going onto dry tyres here. But we got the strategy call too late. We were already past the pit lane by the time it came through. So we've had to do a whole lap on intermediates while everyone's on the dry tyres. So this race may have just left us just in the blink of an eye. Just as we get the move done on Lando Norris, everyone pit for dry tyres. So I don't know why we didn't get that strategy call. I don't know if maybe a team just sort of got caught left napping maybe. I don't know, but you can see we put on the medium tyres here, like everyone else has so far, and as we come out of the pit lane, there goes Lewis Hamilton, and are we going to stay ahead of Lando Norris? It looks like Norris is going to get us here as we're going to go side by side into turn 1. Norris just gets ahead of us there, so we have lost time, and we're once again going to have to try and make the move on Lando Norris. You can see sliding through turn 2 there, because the track is still very slippery, even though we are on dry tyres, but you can see here going to Carlos Sainz. Sainz as well got caught out and wasn't able to pit in time, which is really weird considering we got the call. Sainz should have been, you know, far enough back to have come in on that lap, and that could have gotten him a few positions here. You can see he's down in the 13th now 14th as other people go past. So it looks like Sainz is going to struggle to get in the points with only, is that 8 laps to go in this Grand Prix. You can see he's going to be in 14th. He's going to stay ahead of George Russell there. But you can see here we are coming onto the back straight. DRS is enabled again now, but we are back in P3. So after all the hard work of overtaking Lando Norris, we're going to have to try and do it again, whether it's on the main straight with a bit of DRS now, or trying to do a crazy side-by-side battle like we did last time through around half the lap. But you can see as we head through the final sector here, the track is still slippery, very ginger through these corner, through the final chicane here, still making sure to not lose the rear end, having to be very careful there through the final corner, not quite flat out yet. We're not in those conditions. You can see Hamilton and then Norris has the fastest lap, obviously, as we're now on the dry tyres. So that does show the dry tyres are faster, but we just have to be very careful as we head into turn 1, not quite able to go for a move on Norris there as we head through turn 2. We're going to try and keep setting up this move, even though it's dry now. We're going to try and set up the move. You can see we head through the final corner, a bit of a twitchy moment, having to catch the car there, so not quite able to do that sort of thing yet. You can see we've set a purple first sector though, so it does look like we still have the pace over everyone else around us here as we head through turn 5. We're getting very close to the back of this McLaren. It's just about getting the move done in time to try and chase after Hamilton for the win, because we are running out of laps. It's lap 27 of 33 if we didn't have a look there at the top left already. So as we head towards the end of lap 27 now towards lap 28, we are very close to the McLaren. We've got DRS, we've got ERS. We set the fastest lap of the race before everyone else behind us sets it, but we're going to go around the outside as we head towards turn 1, and we actually get the move done before turn 1, so very easy move there compared to our last move on Norris. But now with 5 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. Do we have the pace to close in Lewis Hamilton for the win? You can see as we head to lap 30, on to lap 31, we are very close. We're within DRS. We set the fastest lap of the race again as we head towards turn 1. We're actually closing in. There's heaps on Lewis Hamilton. We're going to have to dive to the inside as Hamilton goes defensive into turn 1. We're going to go around the outside. Hamilton's going to have the outside for turn 2 as we get caught up on the curb a little bit there. Through turn 3, we're going to go side by side with the 7-time world champion here towards turn 4. We're still next to each other. We're going to try and send it around the outside here, but the inside is the better line, almost making contact with the Mercedes into turn 5. We're going to have the inside, but Hamilton cuts across us there in the turn 5, and he holds on to the lead, and that just shows the racecraft that this man has in that Mercedes as we head through the SS section here. This is all or nothing. I want this win after having it cruelly snatched away from us last time out in Portimao, as we get a massive slide though through the sweeper, so we're going to have to do all the hard work to catch back up here as we head on lap 32. There are 2 laps remaining. We're closer to Hamilton this time than we were last time, though. Hamilton's again going to go defensive, but we're going to go to the inside anyway as we go on the grass there, having to avoid Hamilton as he just pushed us right up to the grass on the inside, but we are properly ahead through turn 1 and 2, and we are into the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix with 2 laps remaining. We just now have to try our best to keep Hamilton behind. He will have the DRS on us now as we head through turn 4, again setting a purple sector, but as we head through the final corner now on the final lap of the Grand Prix, it is going to be redemption day for us here in Spain. We're going to get our first win in Season 2.
Fantastic. You've won the Grand Prix.
They've done it then. A spectacular victory here in Spain and a massive confidence boost going into the next race. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
A show-stopping performance from the 3 drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure.
And after an absolutely incredible race here are the results for the Spanish Grand Prix. We take the win with the fastest lap there, so maximum points takeaway for us here with 26 points. And Lewis Hamilton finishes second with Lando Norris rounding out the podium there in the McLaren. You see our Carlos Sainz, our teammate, got himself back to P13 there after starting in 18th with that engine penalty. So it's a shame he wasn't able to get into the points, but he did a great job of holding Verstappen up for us, and that could have been the difference between us finishing first and second there, as that saved us a lot of time having to try and overtake Max Verstappen. But in terms of the championship, you can see Norris actually leads by 4 points over Hamilton and then only 7 points over Bottas, so that's a very, very close battle for the championship lead, and we've moved ourselves up into P6 ahead of Sainz in P8 there with Perez in the Red Bull sort of in between us there. In terms of the constructors, you can see Mercedes now lead ahead of McLaren by only 4 points, and we're actually battling Red Bull for third there. You can see only 6 points between us, so very close battle there, and it could be very crucial for next season, depending on who finishes in third there, obviously with that extra prize money. So definitely going to try and keep our noses in this battle for as long as we can. Hopefully we can sort of outdevelop them and make a really good car by the end of this season. You can see in terms of acclaim, we get closer to level 14 and Sainz gets himself up into level 15, and we are edging ever closer to that level 20 team acclaim there to unlock that fourth and final extra sponsor for us to bring in that little bit of extra revenue. You can see we do get all of our sponsor objectives done for the weekend, bringing in over $1 million, and unfortunately they're a bit of damage for myself and Sainz after that race, taking just a little bit of money away from us, so not too massive. You can see there we've got about $5.5 million, but in terms of activities, we're going to do race simulations there to help Sainz's experience and awareness. We're going to do a funded event to bring a bunch of morale to all the departments. We're also going to do some weight training to help increase Sainz's pace, as well as some aero team building to give even more morale to the aero department. So Pretty simple there. We're only wasting 1 day. You can see we've got some upgrades coming in already. There's some aero upgrades coming through, and you can see coming through here even more aero upgrades, so all of them coming through. You can see we're going to put in another front downforce there, just a minor upgrade. That should be coming in before Canada as we progress forward a little bit more, and not too much happening at this point. You can see just sort of the activities that we planned out going through as we get some more weekly resources going through, and we're actually going to get this fuel efficiency there. So yeah, fuel efficiency is actually really good for us at the moment. But yeah, the more we upgrade it, the less fuel we can have the car. We can have in the car at the start of the race, so that'll make us a little bit more punchy at the start. You can see, unfortunately, the aero upgrade failed there, and we didn't have quite enough points to repurchase it. But they're just progressing a day forward, and we do, and that should actually come through before Canada either way. So yeah, that's very good. You can see lightweight wheel rims, and there's the vortex for the aero there, as well as some more weekly resources. And unfortunately, the fuel efficiency upgrade didn't come through. We did have enough points to repurchase it, but it'll be coming in after Canada. Now, in terms of some facilities here, we're actually going to upgrade the fabrication here for the powertrain to Spec 2, so that'll allow us to do some more engine upgrades at a time instead of only 1 or 2 at a time there. And that is everything. That is all the admin work done for this episode. So next time out we'll be in Canada for the Canadian Grand Prix. So that's a track I actually quite enjoy. So yeah, that's all for today's episode, guys. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.